What to do, YouTube? MJM4Life here. And yes, you did read the title correctly. This is going to be a video showcasing elemental dragons. But wait, we have to do it the MJM4Life way. So, before we get into the deck, my version of elemental dragons, I promise you, you've never seen an elemental dragon deck played this way. We're going to get into the three cards that this deck is going to be focused around, and you'll see a little bit reason why I say that. So, the first card here is going to be Hardened Armed Dragon. If you don't know about this card, it's a level 4 Earth-type monster with 1500 attack, 800 defense. It's a dragon, which is key for our deck, and its effect is you can send one level 8 or higher monster from your hand to the graveyard to special summon this card. If you tribute this card for the tribute summon of a level 7 or higher monster, that monster cannot be destroyed by card effects. So basically, you can special summon this card and then tribute it for obviously level 7 or higher monster, and then that particular monster will not be able to be destroyed. So no Dark Hole, no Lightning Vortex, no Mirror Force, no cards of that nature. And that's going to be really important when we get into the other card here, Direct Titano. So this card, you may not know about, it's a level 8 fire dinosaur type monster, so it's not going to be searchable with the elemental dragons, unfortunately. But its effect is this card cannot be special summoned or face up on the field. This card cannot be targeted by the effects of traps or effect monsters. And then once returned, you remove a direct monster from play. Well, that's not even important for this particular deck. But it's 3000 attacker and 2800 defense. And basically, when you use this card, this card is basically a baby version of the real main reason why we're running this deck. But this card, basically, if you can use Hardened Armed Dragon sack it for this card, now you've got a 3000 beater that can't be targeted or destroyed by effects or traps, that's pretty tough to deal with, especially against the mirror match and elemental dragons. If they're not playing the synchro variant, what can elemental dragons do against this card? Especially if you get this out first turn. What are they going to do about a 3000 attacker that they can't Dark Hold, they can't Draco Sack and pop it, they can't Big Eye and take it? There's not much they can do about this. Now, if they are playing the Synchro variant, they can crash with what's that shit called? Red Dragon Archfiend. I mean, that's pretty much their best play, is crash with Red Dragon Archfiend. I mean, literally, like, this thing is tough to get over, especially in the mirror match. But even for any deck, a 3000 beater that they cannot get rid of, I mean, the best thing they can do is, it can be targeted by spells, but the only spells that target in the meta are what? Book of Moon and mind control. I mean, you're gonna mind control with this. Go ahead, go for a rank 9. I mean, what are you gonna do with this card? Unless they're playing Galaxy Eyes Tachyon Dragon or something like that. I don't know, but this card is tough to get over, especially if you can use Hardened Armed Dragon to sacrifice for it. But this card is not even the main card that we're gonna get into. This card is the baby. This card is the second option, but it's an incredible second option, especially as I said before. If you can tribute it using Hardened Armed Dragon, this card is a problem for teams. But the real problem is Obelisk the Tormentor. Yes, you said it. You heard it right. This is an Obelisk the Tormentor elemental dragon deck. I told you you've never seen anything like this before. But anyway, Obelisk's effect is really long, so I'll just basically paraphrase it. So you have to sacrifice 3 monsters. Its summon cannot be negated. Cards cannot be activated in response to this card's summon, and this card cannot be targeted by spells, traps, or monster effects. So basically, like I said, Direct Titano is the baby version of Obelisk. So Direct Titano does not have the exclusion of spells, whereas Obelisk does. So now, if you can sacrifice Hardened Armed Dragon plus 2 other monsters for Obelisk, you've got a 4000 attacker that can't be targeted, can't be destroyed. Get at me. I mean, this thing is a problem. Obelisk is a problem in and of itself, but add on to the fact that you can't Dark Hole it, you can't Mirror Force it, you can't Deprison it, you can't Fiendish Chain it, you can't Bottomless Trap Hole it, you can't Solemn Warning it, you can't Solemn Judgment it. You've got a problem on your hands. I mean, the only time when I've gotten this out that anyone has ever gotten over Obelisk is, and they had to use the hacks, that is Gateway of the Six. But Six Samurais used Gateway to get out 2 Keyzons, went for Excalibur, and then attacked over it. But I mean, the only way they were able to do that was with Gateway. But this thing is a problem for decks, and you can get it out, sacrifice Hardened Armed Dragon. I mean, it's pretty much auto win. I mean, nothing's going to attack over this. I mean, it's just a problem. I mean, I guess they attack into you and they have Honest. Like, that's the only thing. But then you always lose to Honest. But so we're gonna get into the deck real quick, and I'll be back. All right, guys. So this is the deck for Elemental Dragon Obelisk. As I said in the last video, just ignore the side deck. The side deck are just a bunch of random cards that I just throw in there just to so the profile looks full, like I actually tried when I made this deck. Anyway, we'll get into the cards. So obviously it's going to be 3 Blaster because Blaster is amazing, and it's an Elemental Dragon, obviously. So 2 of the Burner to search out Blaster, or 2 Card D, 3 Veiler, 2 Hardened Arm Dragon, 2 Direct Titano, 2 Obelisk the Tormentor, 2 Rectan, 2 Redox, or 3 Redox, sorry, 2 Stream, 3 Tidal, 1 Tyrant Dragon, 1 White Knight Dragon, then spells 1 Dark Hole, 2 Gold Sarcophagus, 1 Heavy Storm, 1 Monster Reborn, 2 Mystical Space Typhoon, 2 Night Beam, and then 3 Sword of 7 or Sacred Sword of 7 stars. And then for the extra deck, we've got Catastor, Crimson Blader, Red Dragon Archfiend, Scrap Dragon, Stardust Dragon, 2 Thunder Charger, 2 Drago Sack, 2 Abyss Gaios, 2 Big Eye, and then 2 of this thingy that I can't remember its name, but it gives you 3 tokens to sack for Obelisk. Then the extra deck is random. So I think when you first look at this deck, the first thing that probably directs your attention is the Tyrant Dragon and the White Knight Dragon, but we'll get into that later. So basically you have Hardened Arm Dragon, Direct Titano, and Obelisk the Tormentor are going to be your main cards. So you basically want to have these cards in your hand. So now I'll explain the Tyrant Dragon and the White Knight Dragon. So the reason why they're in here is because White Knight Dragon and Tyrant Dragon are searchable with the Elemental Dragon. So for example, if you have Tidal and you can banish it with Gold Sark or 7-star Sword, you add the White Knight Dragon to your hand, and then you use that White Knight Dragon to send it to the graveyard to special summon Hardened Arm Dragon. Same with Blaster and Tyrant Dragon. So they're just basically free cards to use for Hardened Arm Dragon's effect, the same way that Hardened Arm Dragon can be added to your hand via Redox. So it's just a way to make sure that you have that in your hand. Card D's here, obviously, to draw cards so that you can get your Obelisk and Direct Titano into your hand. And also, it's an Earth, so it works with the Recton. And just speeds up the deck and allows you to draw Direct Titano and Obelisk faster. And if you don't get Direct Titano or Obelisk, the deck plays just like regular Elemental Dragons would. So Drago Sack and Big Eye Turbo, basically. So you're not really losing any of the consistency that a normal Elemental Dragon deck would have. Now, as far as the side deck goes, obviously Lad was probably a realistic side deck card for this deck. Maybe even Electric Virus against the Mirror Match. And then against certain decks, maybe Royal Decree. But the other cards are kind of just random shit that I just threw in here because I was like, I just wanted to fill it up. Yeah, that's basically the deck. Card D, Sacred Sword of 7 stars to search and get draw power. Sacred Sword allows you to search, but Card D doesn't. But you got draw power and Card D, Sacred Sword, searchable with Sacred Sword and Gold Sark. And then as soon as you get Hardened Arm and either Obelisk or Direct Titano, you can go off and basically get out a big beater that's pretty much indestructible. The great thing about Direct Titano also is that it only takes 2 tributes because it's a level 8, whereas Obelisk it takes 3, but with Drago Sack having 3 tributes is nothing. So we'll get into the duel that showcases this deck. Okay, so this is a duel I had against Maria, and I told Maria to play her her favorite deck, Stardust Assault Mode. But so in this game 1, I go first. Oh, and by the way, Maria is getting really good at this game. So if you guys see her on Duel Network, be sure to challenge her. So anyway, so my computer was messing up or something like that. So Sacred Sword, draw into or banish Redox. So Redox allows me to search for Hardened Arm Dragon. And I mean, I just have like the perfect hand. Like this hand is broken, honestly. So I'm going to send Stream to the graveyard along with Recton to special summon Tidal from my hand because I'm activating Stream's effect, not Recton's effect, although it doesn't really matter. Then I'm going to banish the 2 that I just sent to the graveyard, special summon out Blaster, then send Tyrant Dragon to special summon Hardened Arm Dragon. Now I'm going to overlay, go for Drago Sack, This is just why Drago Sack's tool. I already have 3 tributes, but I just want to style on some more. So I'm going to detach, go for the 2 tokens, then tribute those tokens for Obelisk the Tormentor, 4,000 attacker that can't be targeted or destroyed. Get at me, and because I know she's playing Stardust Assault mode, I know that deck there's nothing that you can do against this. So she's going to Dark Hole me, and Obelisk obviously can't be destroyed. She wasn't paying attention, so she obviously did not know that. But so I showed her that I had a Hardened Arm Dragon, and that it couldn't be destroyed because of Obelisk. Obelisk couldn't be destroyed because of that, and there's nothing that she could do. She was very upset about that. So I mean, especially for like synchro decks, like there's really nothing you can synchro for that can get over a 4,000 attacker. I mean, just by itself, and then the fact that it can't be targeted or destroyed. I mean, it's just a big problem. I don't think there's any deck that could deal with this card, honestly, except for, like I said, unless they have Honest or Excalibur. Those are the only 2 ways that you can deal with this deck. So that was game 1, and now we're gonna get into game 2. So I finished siding, and then we'll start getting into game 2. Okay, so in game 2 here, obviously she's going first since she lost, so she's going to go for her plays, and I'll just basically talk about the deck as you guys can see what's happening. I don't really need to explain everything, but anyway, I found that this deck, it's really amazing. I mean, Elemental Dragons are just broken. You can play them. There's so many ways you can play them, but there's nobody playing them the way that I play them, because I make it my job to be a novel player, and try to do things that no one else is doing, but still make them good. And I think I've onto something here, because if you really think about it, certain decks, like, they just can't deal with big beaters. Like, for example, 6 Samurais. Other than going for Excalibur, like, sometimes you just get out Direct Titano. That's sufficient, because, I mean, it gets over Shien, and their deck is basically Shien Turbo. So, I mean, just think about all the decks that are in the meta. Like, for example, Spellbooks. What are Spellbooks going to do against a 3,000? Well, actually, they could Spellbook a power. So, I mean, if you get, for example, Obelisk, what are Spellbooks going to do to get over Obelisk? Nothing. I mean, you get out Obelisk, you win, period. Against Spellbooks. Against Elemental Dragons, you win, period. Certain decks, Direct Titano will suffice, but certain decks you will have to get out Obelisk, or you won't be as safe getting out Direct Titano. For example, Spellbooks, then if they have Priestess, they can just power and attack over you. But if you have Obelisk, they can't attack over you. So it's like, I mean, what are you gonna do about that? What are you gonna do about this? I mean, Obelisk is such a beast. I mean, it's certainly underutilized, and I think the fact that it takes 3 tributes kind of scares people from using it. But really, come on, in today's game, getting 3 tributes is easy with all the damn special summoning you can do in this game. Come on now, there's no way that you shouldn't be able to get three tributes consistently, especially Drago Sack. That's 3 tributes right there by itself. You activate its effect. Get 2 tokens, bam, 3 tributes. Then there's that one card, I don't even know the name, but it's in my extra deck, that gets you 3 tokens. But I don't think you can attack or something. It's something like that, but getting 3 tributes is not a problem. Like, Obelisk is an amazing card. And Direct Titano is another really, really good card. It can't be targeted. The fact that it's effect that it can't be targeted by traps or effect monsters, just that by itself is just a really good effect. And there's just a lot of obscure cards like Direct Titano that people aren't really fully utilizing, because they're just so in this, well, I gotta play Elemental Dragons or I gotta play Spellbooks to win. Well, I mean, the funny thing is that this whole argument that I'm making is kind of null and void, because I'm using Elemental Dragons. I kind of realized that, but still, I definitely could make an Obelisk deck that doesn't utilize Elemental Dragons that still is just as effective. In fact, I think I do have one. I don't know if I don't know if it's either on Dual Network or DevPro, but I do have one that doesn't even use Elemental Dragons. Elemental Dragons obviously just makes it. The other one is just not as consistent. Obviously, Elemental Dragons are just way too consistent, too fast, too furious. They're just too good. I mean, period. I mean, it's just an amazing deck. The speed is, unparalleled. I mean, decks are just getting faster and faster. But anyway, this is just another way to make Elemental Dragons even better, I guess. I kind of feel bad for making this deck, because, I mean, not only do you have Obelisk that can't be targeted or destroyed, you still have the ability to Big Eye. Give me that. I mean, there's too many options. This deck has just too many options. There's nothing you can do against it, especially if I have a good hand. But anyway, this has been Obelisk Elemental Dragons. Hope you guys enjoyed, as my computer's about to die. Rate, comment, subscribe. I'm out of here. Deuces.